In this video, we are going to build a really simple app from a SharePoint list. And we're going to do the whole thing from scratch. Now, although the app is simple, it's actually quite an effective app, and I would really encourage you to use this. So the first thing we're going to do is we will create the SharePoint list, and it's based around the idea of wanting to order a particular computer. What we're going to do is we're going to verify within SharePoint that the fields are required or not, because sometimes fields are required. We need to be careful about that within our apps. We're going to populate one line of entry just by hand so that we've got something to have a look at within our app. And then we're going to build the one-click 3-screen Power App. We're going to test the app just to make sure that it actually has the ability to submit data. And finally, we're just going to confirm to ourselves where this app is located. So let's move over to Office 365 to start doing that. This is a great place to start building your first app. And the first place that we're going to start in this case is SharePoint. So we're going to move to SharePoint and we're going to find ourselves a site that we can make use of. Clearly, if you don't have a site, you may need to create one for yourself. But I'm going to assume for the purposes of this video that you already have a site that you have permission to. If not, you'd have to go to Create Site, and then you would need to create a team site. But I would avoid that one for the moment. So I'm not going to create the site on this occasion. And I'm going to go to my site called Learn. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new list. And what I will do with that is I will indicate the fields that I require in that. Now, in this case, I'm actually going to create a blank list. I want to actually define the fields in a fairly easy fashion for myself. We need to give the list a name. And I'm going to give it a name of device order, and I'm actually going to do _SP because I want to make sure that when I see it in the app that it's distinguished from any other data that we might be able to see. So in this case, I'm actually going to call it device order SP, and then I'm going to go and click create. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to add a column, and it's going to be a single line of text, and I'm going to say, well, this is going to be my device name, and I'm actually going to deliberately not put any spaces in between the column names, so it's going to be device name. Then I'm going to have a price column, so we need a number field, price. And click save on that. And finally, I'm going to put in a status field. And in fact, it's just going to be a single line of text. I'm going to call it status. And we'll save that. What I'm now going to do is verify that the fields that I've put in, whether or not they are required or not. Now, the fields I've put in won't initially be required, but there is a chance that the title field, as you can see, is a required field. But as it happens, I don't want to use that field, so I'm actually going to go onto the field and then say, well, actually don't require that this has any information. And then we can move back. What I can then do is I could actually still show this here, show the title field here, or I could hide it away. For the purposes of this demonstration, that's not a requirement. What I'm now going to do is to edit in grid view. I'm just going to put a single line of data. And I'm going to say, well, my device name is a Surface Book 4, and we'll say the price is $1,550, and I'll say that the status is pending. in order to finally commit that line, I'll hit the enter button. So that line has now been created. I am going to exit the grid view and then go to the integrate option here. And you can see I've got an option to create an app. So if I click on create app, I've got an option to create an app, and this will create a 3-screen app for us. All I need to do is say device ordering, and I'm going to call it SP. Now it is actually going back to a specific environment to verify whether or not we've actually created an app that has got this name in the past. So I'm just going to call it device ordering SP, but you could change that to anything that's suitable for you. If I now click create, it's going to go through the provisioning process to build this 3-screen app. So the first thing to note about the app is it is going to be a mobile friendly app. It's got 3 screens. So first of all, you will see a gallery, as they call it, which has got our items, and that gallery will allow us to navigate through to be able to view that item in a little bit more detail, and then finally to be able to edit that item as well. Our app is now pretty well built. The first thing to note on here is that we're actually in our personal productivity environment. This is the default environment. So just you'll learn a little bit more about environments later on. So can we use this app? Well, the first thing to do is to hit the play button and hit a plus. And then in this case, I'm not interested in title, but I am interested in device name. And we'll say this is an Asus ZenBook. And we'll say that the price of it is 1,300 and that the status is pending. Now, if I hit the OK on that, we can see that that has now gone into our SharePoint list. If we actually come out of this and if we actually go and have a look at our SharePoint list, then we'll see that item has been added. We've now created a fully functioning app. It genuinely works. There's lots more that we can do with this, but the fundamentals of the app is that it does what we need it to do. If you didn't find on the left-hand side that you can actually see the tree view, we can see the objects that relate to what we see on the screen. So actually, if we select on different things, then you'll notice on the left-hand side that will actually start to highlight those things that we've selected. And all those things have got certain properties to do with their position and size and whatever the text that might be inside them. And as you can see here, the text that's inside this box is this item, the item that we're currently on, device name, and that was the device name which is from this column here. So you can see those things in operation. We can also see that if I hold the Alt key down and then navigate through, I can see this item here, and if I navigate once more by still holding the Alt key down, I can actually edit that item. I could change certain aspects of it. If I actually hit the drop down here, then we can see different elements here. And on this form, I can see this title here, and I don't really need the title, so I can actually just delete that out. And there's lots of ways of doing it, but I'm just going to select it and press the delete button. I also don't need the attachments either, so I'm going to delete that as well. And one final change I'm going to make on this is just to change the default setting for this field. Now I could, if I wanted to, change the default setting on my SharePoint list, but what I'm actually going to do here is I'm actually going to select this card here and make an edit to it. So if I go to advanced, it's going to give me an option to unlock. It's just a feature of a form that you need to be aware of. If I click unlock, I now have the option to make some changes. And if I go onto this and I say, well, if form mode or edit form 1 dot mode equals form mode .new. That means it's a new form. I want it to say pending. Otherwise, I want it to just be parent.default. And all that really means is give me what it's currently saying in the data source. So I can now go onto there, and I can I've now made my edits. I can go to File and then finally save this, and then publish. And publishing is a concept which allows you to work on things but not have given it out to the rest of your business. The final stage is to share the app with your organization. You can share, but bear in mind that those users will also need to have permission to the data source as well. I can type in everyone here, and I can click share. Click cancel, and then you can see there's a web link here. If I select the web link, it will open the app in the form where we can actually start making use of it. Click allow on there. We'll only need to do that once, and then if I hit the plus, and I can say I can invent another device. Let's just call it a HP. Let's give it a price of 1,000, and we'll stick OK on there. And we can see that that has now updated. If we move back to make.powerapps.com, and if we actually go to apps, we can actually see the different environments that are available to me. But this one is living inside the what I have termed the personal productivity environment, and it's the default environment. So in this lesson, we have built an app from a SharePoint list. We first of all created the SharePoint list. We then verified the fields that were required in the list, and we made sure that the title was no longer required. We then populated one line of entry, and then built a one-click 3-screen app. All we had to do was to specify the name of the app. We were then able to test the app. We made some small adjustments to the app, and we had a look at the app location. We even shared it with the rest of our organization. Hope you found this useful, and I'll see you in a future lesson.